Hello, happy Mother's Day. Thanks for joining us here on KXAM Plus. I'm your host, Esmeralda Zamora, and on this Sunday afternoon, we have our Tommy's travel forecast with Tommy House. Tommy, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good. Beautiful skies
Beautiful
today.
skies for Mother's Day. Hope you all spending some good quality time with family and just soaking up the sunshine.
Yes, and it looks like we have a bit more sunshine to expect this week, right?
Sunshine, yeah, and the heat's going to be sticking around. Of rain across the deep south and the east coast. I'm traveling there in the coming few days, which would be nice to switch things up. But until then, locally here in Central Texas, things are going to get pretty toasty.
Well, let's jump into it. What do we have? What do you have for us?
Yeah, so this is the current weather pattern that we've been dealing with, this low pressure that's sitting right now over the Gulf. And you'll notice that it's going to slowly move up to the north and east in the coming few days. While that happens, a ridge will build in, which clockwise flow. Let me see if I can try to draw this out for you here. We have this ridge that's essentially going to steer around any sort of shower and storm activity. In this ridge of high pressure, we see not a lot of convection, which is thunderstorm or cloud development. So we're going to have sinking air, plenty of heat, warmer than normal temperatures, and winds coming in out of the southwest. This is midweek on Wednesday, and you'll see Thursday, Friday into next weekend. The ridge moves a little bit over into the Gulf, but even then, that was a terrible arrow. Let me try to redraw that. It gets tricky to draw on a laptop. That one's worse. But high pressure moves east just a little bit still. But I think we're really going to be seeing some of the warmest temperatures in months in the coming few days, not only here locally in Austin, but if you're traveling to Dallas, down to San Antonio, Houston, even through much of the central plains and the Midwest, warmer than normal temperatures. And with this high pressure ridge, typically when you see a setup like this, let's see if I can go back to Wednesday, a lot of the storms get steered around through the Pacific Northwest, northern plains, and the Northeast. So there's not a lot of opportunity for rain in the ridge. Yesterday I did a blog explaining why this is happening, a little more scientific. I know we have a lot to cover here, so if you're curious to learn more about what a ridge is and how it impacts us, you can read that as well.
And Tommy, when you say that it's going to be a little bit warmer than normal here, what are we talking about? What kind of temperatures?
Yeah, so let's pull that up and I'll show you. This is how it looks right now. Actually, it's a cooler than normal day by about 1 degree here. Our average highs in the mid 80s. But as I play this out through, let's start with tomorrow, Monday. 7 degrees warmer than normal.
Wow.
In Austin. So that would be low 90s. I think I have 93 tomorrow for a high temperature. And you'll notice across the board, eastern Texas is cooler, but excuse me, most of the Lone Star states warmer than normal. By Tuesday, widespread 10 to 15 degree warmer than normal highs. So for us, that's anywhere from 98 to about 102 degrees locally. 18 degrees warmer than normal in San Antonio. Wednesday is going to be the warmest day. And then notice you'll see the 18 degrees warmer than normal. Yeah, correct. So our normal high is, I think, 86 for context here. So that's anywhere between 102 to 105 degrees in Central Texas. And some computer models you may have seen on social media are saying like 107, 108. It's a little too much. We slowly work our way up as forecasters. I think it would be a disservice to go out and say like 107 and then backtrack on Monday and Tuesday and say maybe 102. So we're going to play it on the lower end of that. Still triple digits. So you're really not going to feel a difference between 102 and 104. Regardless, we're going to be smashing some record highs, which are in the upper 90s. So yeah, we have a lot of days of heat ahead of us. This is Thursday. You'll notice 14 degrees warmer than normal, still upper 90s. So I anticipate at least several days of upper 90s, low 100s, and plenty of sunshine.
And it doesn't look like it's just us down here in Texas. If anyone is looking to travel this week, where else is it going to be extremely hot?
Yeah, so this is pretty much going to be through the southern central plains and much of the deep south. You see even by, let's play this out for Thursday, the red is warmer than normal. So that continues and carries over into states like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, up toward the Midwest and Northeast. And the reason why this is all happening is we're seeing a lot of these storm systems that will get steered around us. So when you have ridging, and let's play this out till Monday or so, You're going to have the storms that remain to the east of us, to the northwest of us. Not a lot of action for the southern plains. So Tuesday, see if I can draw. This is kind of like a little bit of a rain dome that's persisting through our area. And then all the storm activity is going to move around that ridge up toward the plains, northern plains, Midwest, and Northeast. So Wednesday into Thursday, keep an eye on Texas, still nothing. Yeah. We'll have some maybe mountain snow for Colorado, some rain for Iowa, Minnesota, rain down the eastern seaboard. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, this is almost a week out. Still, we're seeing
no rain.
No rain in central southern Texas. And a lot of the shower storm activity is getting steered around us toward Tennessee, Kentucky. If you're traveling up to the Midwest, the Northeast, or the Pacific Northwest this week, you're going to be getting a few rounds of unsettled weather. Now, the good news is May is typically when our severe weather season peaks, and the only severe weather possibility, at least for tomorrow, level 1 out of 5 by the Storm Prediction Center, for some states like Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida, a little bit of Tennessee and Alabama there. That's from that same cluster of low pressure showers and storms that I showed you earlier. So I mean, even at the moment, there's a severe thunderstorm warning in Mississippi, but this is not a big widespread severe weather outbreak. It is unusually quiet right now, and it's going to be unusually quiet weather-wise through next weekend. The big reason why is that ridge.
Yeah, what do you think this unusual quietness is going to lead up to in the next few weeks?
Yeah, so, typically May is rainy, it's cloudy, it's warm, 80s, but we're used to 80s. 80s is no big deal. And I'm going to go back to that ridge graphic because I want to show you with that high pressure sticking around in the Gulf, if that remains in play in this specific area, it's a little bit shifted to the east, but if it's still there, 90s are going to be around for the time being. Locally here in Austin, I'll pull it up for you, the 7-day forecast, you're gonna see, we'll cool down a little bit toward the end of the work week and next weekend, but cool down is 101 to 103 to 99 to 97, and then even beyond the next 7 days, I was just looking at longer range computer models that are keeping us still in the 90s next week.
Wow.
So what needs to happen is the ridge needs to completely get flushed out, and then we need to see a dip in the jet stream that's going to bring in rain chances as well as the possibility for some more seasonable high temperatures in the 80s. I think today by far is going to be the coolest day through the next week, maybe even 2 weeks. And then, once you get into June and July, once that ridge really locks in, it's extremely difficult to see some breaks of cooler weather. Do I think we're going to be seeing some more rain this month? Absolutely. We could see that ridge clear up much faster. Next Saturday and Sunday could be in the 80s with rain. But what we do know is triple digits are pretty much a lock for Texas for a few days this work week. In Austin, I think the warmest ever temperature in May is 104 in the record books, so I think we'll get close to that. Daily record highs in the upper 90s. We'll work our way through that. I don't see a problem there. So, we've been talking about this at the station here. Heat safety tips. Check in on your elderly neighbors, or if you know someone who's sick, especially they don't have air conditioning.
This week is going to be the hardest.
And it's tough too because I was thinking a lot of people are moving in, let's say summer classes at UT, or they're moving to Austin and they moved here in the winter months or fall and spring. And if you've lived here for a while, hundreds, what to do when it's hot, you have a plan in place, or to take frequent breaks if you're working outdoors in something like construction. But if you're new and you're coming in from Northern California, the Midwest, the Northeast, it can sneak up on you. So, I expect some sort of heat alerts to be issued by the National Weather Service. Also on that blog I wrote, I explained the difference between a heat advisory and extreme heat warning. Just a lot of information for you to have. 103 is probably some of you who's like, oh, that's not that bad. But 103 in May is pretty tough. The earliest ever triple digit day on record here locally at Austin is May 4th. That was the earliest 100-degree day We're at the 11th, so this will be
completely past May 4th.
Yeah. But also at the same time, if we do hit 100 this week, we're going to be in the top 5 for the earliest ever triple-digit days.
Yeah.
So it's a lot when it's soon. I'm throwing around a lot of numbers here. Hopefully some of this sticks in. The average first 100-degree day is July 4th, for context.
Well, Tommy, we'll keep talking about this, but we're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Sounds good.
And we're back, Tommy. We were talking about some excessive heat that we are going to experience here in Central Texas and in different areas near Texas for this coming week. But what I did want to ask you was touch a little bit more on those safety tips. I know on our newscast later today, you're going to be focusing on that. What are some of the main safety tips and concerns we should keep in mind throughout this week?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this and talking with some of the weather team yesterday. When you're a pet owner or a dog owner, during the winter months here, the fall and even spring, I let my dog out. We go for walks anytime during the day. When the high temps are in the 70s and low 80s, it's not too big of an issue. But when you're seeing the 90s and 100s, for them, that asphalt feels dangerous. Like 160, 170, 180 degrees. Think about that. If you were to put your hand or your foot
put your hand
I mean, put your hand literally on the sidewalk. You can maybe hold it there for 2 seconds. Think about what it does for them. Some people get dog booties or whatever to put on their little paws. I think we're going to be seeing, unfavorable dog walking weather definitely during the next few days, but that doesn't mean you still can't walk your pups, especially in the early morning and late evening. It will only be in the hundreds probably for about 2 to 3 hours during the afternoon. The mornings will be in the 80s and the evenings will be in the 80s. So just be mindful of that. Our first warning weather app has hour by hour manually updated temperatures for you. The Apple app on your phone takes a computer model that is very inconsistent. I saw some people sending in questions saying 111 degrees on Wednesday, and it's like, no, that's a lot, and that's what some weather apps are putting out right now. So just, be mindful of where you get your information. Find a trusted source. It can be, any meteorologist. National Weather Service also has good resources for you too. And again, this is not lasting forever. I think we'll cool down toward the end of the month. And then, beyond that, it's tough to forecast specifics, but we're not going to stay in the hundreds by any sort of means. But it is a little taste of summer, unfortunately lasting for multiple days. Ideally it would be 80s, 100, and then 80s, so we could just get it out of the way, and then we're on to the 80s again and more rain. But it's going to be definitely warmer than normal for the time being.
Yeah, I hope this is just a taste of summer and not a 3-week span of summer.
Yeah,
we don't need that right now.
Yeah, we averaged 29 triple-digit days, and our first warning weather team, we did our 100-degree forecast of how many days we think we're going to reach. And I predicted the least amount.
Yeah, I'm holding on to your prediction because I do not want Rich's prediction to come true.
Yeah, Rich and Kristen were in the 50s, which is a little tough, scary to think about. Last year we had 34, I believe. So
I feel like yours is a little closer.
A little closer, yeah. I still think it's going to be hotter than last summer, but far away, hopefully, from 50, 60, 70 days of 100-degree heat. But we're already forecasting 3 through the next 7 days.
Well, we have your article, that blog post that you were talking about. I'm not sure if this is the one you were talking about, but you published this today. You can find it on our homepage, kxan.com. And this is pretty much what we spoke about right now, right?
Yeah, that's what we spoke about. And I think there's a link on there as well in that for the other blog. Yeah, you can see right there. Yeah. So, there's multiple different ways to kind of get caught up on what's going on. And then for a little bit more in-depth about the specific areas of precipitation, we have this live stream you can watch as well, this video to recap if the blog doesn't answer your questions.
And this is that other blog that was also linked, and it goes a little more in-depth on...
A little more in-depth explaining why we're seeing this sudden jump in temperatures, why it's not sudden. A lot of people imagine our temperatures here to go from 70s to 80s to 90s and then 100s, but we know often with big changes in the jet stream, we can go instantly from the 80s to 100s.
Yeah, and we're seeing that happen this week, so be prepared. Get your KXAN weather app, and if you want to tune in to Tommy's newscast right after this live stream, he'll be talking a little bit more about what to expect this week.
A little more of what to expect. We can end with one little final thing. I'll see if I can find it. This is just the high temperatures expected for Wednesday because I thought it was crazy to look at.
So Wednesday's the hottest day so far.
Yeah. Wednesday's going to be the hottest. That's where, here we go. Let's see if we can pull this up. Subject to change a little bit, but this is the trend.
It gives me anxiety.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know what? I don't think, to be honest with you, it's going to be 107 in Atlanta. I have 103 in Austin. Probably lower 100s. I think that's pushing it a little bit. Hopefully we stay in the 90s. But again, it's trending hotter. Computer models are very consistent with triple digit heat. We don't just take computer models and use them directly. We use them as a tool for our forecast. So that's why we're going with 102 or 103 on Wednesday.
And that's a temperature that we're gonna see, but that's not the feels like temperature.
No,
right?
It feels like it's gonna be a little hotter. Yeah, you have the humidity, some dew points that are gonna be coming back in. Dew points in the 60s and maybe even low 70s for our eastern counties. That's like Fayette, closer to the Gulf Coast itself. That's where you're really gonna be feeling a little more mugginess to the air, and then that contributes, of course, also to the real feel and heat index values. So there's a lot there. Just stay hydrated, plenty of electrolytes and things like that. I'm trying to find the muggy meter.
Cool clothing for this type of weather.
Cool clothing. Let's see how the muggy meter goes up. Yeah, you see very humid on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's it's going to be a lot of moisture in the air with the heat. So again, make sure if you have to be outdoors, just take frequent breaks and just stay safe. Drink plenty of water, and then don't wear too much heavy clothing to make you overheat.
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Tommy. We'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, thanks for having me.